From using aimbot during a live CSGO tournament to completing Super Mario 64 with a see-through blindfold, these are the dumbest streamers who are caught in 4K cheating, beginning with Elm0, who accidentally left his aimbot on whilst trying out for a professional esports team. Up until this point, Elm0 had built up a respectable 3,000 Twitch followers for his impressive Apex Legends gameplay. However, while trialing for the pro team Zenith, judges
¿Qué ha dicho? ¿Qué ha dicho?
Whilst trying out for a professional esports.
Accidentalmente dejó el aimbot mientras estaba... O sea, espérate, estaba en un de esto para meterse a un equipo de esports profesional y se dejó el puto aimbot puesto. Tócate los huevos. Coña,
Until
¿no?
this point, Elm0 had built up a respectable 3,000 Twitch followers for his impressive Apex Legends gameplay. However, while trialing for the pro team Zenith, judges noticed that his aim was almost too impressive.
A ver.
And while this
ese no ha estado tan... O sea, quiero decir, no... O sea, no ha sido para tanto, ¿no? Este. O sea, ha sido como muy... No sé, o sea, a ver. Sí que ha sido una barbaridad, ¿no? O sea, le da ahí 1 y 2. O sea, a ver, he jugado... Creo que esto es el Apex. He jugado al Apex un par de veces. Es complicadete darles. Es complicadete, la verdad. Pero esto no es tan imposible, ¿no?
And while this first kill was arguably still possible without aimbot, his next kill was significantly more suspicious.
Es que claro, vamos a ver.
Elm0 shoots through the wall as if he already knew where the enemy was, before locking onto the player with near perfect accuracy. Elm0 was in enemy was before locking onto the player with near perfect accuracy. Elm0 was instantly called out in a Twitter post reading, "How are people streaming cheats in Scrims LMAO?" which received a response explaining that he was known for cheating on PUBG in the past.
One of my accounts was banned from PUBG. I was banned by the PUBG Corp for, my ban message said hacking.
Determined to expose Elm0 for good, another clip was tweeted of him warming up for the match, in which his aim was once again robotically accurate, and with the evidence seeming conclusive, Zenith Esports would make a tweet explaining that Elm0 was not contracted with us and has been removed from our trial process, which was followed by Elm0 deleting all of his social media before disappearing from the internet. Semper0311 was even stupider, as after going live playing the game Destiny 2, he'd forget to hide the aimbot program altogether. At the time, he was streaming to a small audience of only 16 people. However, this was enough for one of his...
O sea, es que el mayor problema no es que la peña utilice chetos, sino que lo haga y encima lo enseñe, ¿no? O sea, como que haga directo utilizando chetos y como que se hagan pasar por alguien súper bueno cuando en verdad son unos putos cheaters de mierda, tío, y deberían estar baneados de por vida, tío, en el mundo del gaming, tío. No deberían poder jugar absolutamente ningún videojuego. Eso es lo que más me toca los cojones, tío, que es como que, tío, no eres bueno, no lo intentes, tío. O sea, quiero decir, es que incluso da mejor, da más vistas, tío, alguien que sea malo. Pero de verdad, que no alguien que sea bueno por tener chetos, tío, no sé. No sé si me estoy explicando bien o no, pero no sé, me parece, no sé. Me parece muy penoso, muy patético, no sé.
Was to notice the fishy gameplay. Writing in the chat, "Is that aimbot?" On your screen, it has like red squares around them. Semper was dumb enough to read the comments out loud.
My screen has red squares around them.
And after pretending to be confused for a couple of seconds, the stream ended abruptly and the footage was deleted. In the days that followed, Semper denied cheating and threatened to ban anyone bringing it up.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And I didn't.
Look at the
If you want to get banned, you can keep saying that.
Yet after being pressured by the audience, Semper admitted to cheating in the weakest way possible.
There was wall hacks on my computer yesterday on stream. Like, I'm not denying that. I just don't know how they got there.
However, Elise Semper eventually
O sea, tenía wall hacks en mi ordenador, pero no sé cómo llegaron ahí. Pero los tenía en mi ordenador. ¿Qué coño me estás contando, tío? Es que no sé.
admitted to some kind of wrongdoing, as the next person blamed her cheating
No,
on a non-existent
esto es
person.
mítico, tío.
The streamer in question went by the name
No era
of
Clara, ¿no?
Miss Q Gemini, and just prior to being exposed,
Clara.
she'd state that people often called her
Nah,
a
tío,
cheater simply because she
este
was
es
female.
exagerado,
You know
tío.
what's really sad? That sometimes, you know, because I'm female in Counter-Strike, people are like, you're cheating!
However, the real reason behind why she was called a
Y encima, mira cómo se cabrea, tío. En plan, cómo hace que está enfadada porque le están diciendo que está hackeando simplemente por ser mujer. No es porque sea mujer, es porque está hackeando, hijo de puta. Perdón, me he pasado, ¿no? Ahí, pero, hostia, de verdad, me molesta mucho cuando la gente que utiliza chetos se justifica o hace algo así, tío, no sé.
Because I'm female in Counter-Strike, people are like, you're cheating!
However, the real reason behind why she was called a cheater revealed itself just minutes later, as she'd begin her first CSGO game of the stream with wall hacks enabled.
Tío, qué barbaridad.
Mid.
To be going back to be.
Hostia, qué burrada, tío.
After dying in the game, she'd come
Tío,
to
encima
notice her
malísima, ¿no?
colossal-sized mistake and attempted to play the whole thing off by stating that she had some weird glitch.
Do you guys ever get that weird glitch in CSGO where it shows your rank, that it shows everyone's rank? I played the other day with Rock, and he got that, and now I have it. I don't know why. It's weird.
Which was then followed by Miss Q Gemini,
burrada,
stating
tío.
that someone named Clara had been playing on
Clara.
a computer earlier that day.
Wait, Clara! Hold on. Clara, give me 1 second. Clara, let me just message this girl. Give me 1 second. Why
Es
is
que
this on my
este es
computer?
horrible,
Where
tío.
is this? How do I close this? I need to text my friend Clara right now. She was at my house earlier today. I'm literally gonna kill her. She promised me she didn't use it on my PC. Clara, out of all people, this is what happens when you let people use your PC.
Realizing that there was no getting out of this,
Es una barbaridad, tío. O sea, ya no es que te estés justificando o estés diciendo que no es tuyo o que no estás utilizándolo, que tal y cual. Te estás inventando una puta persona, tío. Para decir, no. Es que ha sido Clara. ¿Quién es Clara? No lo sé, ha sido Clara. Que ha utilizado mi ordenador y me ha metido chetos en mi ordenador. Y yo los he abierto antes de empezar a jugar. Es una barbaridad, tío.
Miss Q Gemini began to trade all of her items to a brand new account, yet unfortunately this wouldn't stop a Twitch ban, which happened later that day. And while yet unfortunately out of this, Miss Q Gemini began to trade all of her items
Encima se pasó todos los ítems a otra cuenta. Hostia.
to a brand new account, yet unfortunately this wouldn't stop
Qué
a Twitch
barbaridad.
ban, which happened later that day. And while it's certainly shameless to blame a friend for the hacks on your computer,
Qué
it's
barbaridad.
not nearly as shameless as aimbotting during a professional CSGO
Sí, hombre.
tournament, which is what would happen in the case of Optic Forsaken. Forsaken had joined the Indian
Espérate. En un puto partido profesional te vas a meter a utilizar chetos. En un puto partido profesional, tócate los cojones.
group in May 2018, and in the 5
Tócate
games
los
played
cojones.
after joining, Forsaken had always placed either second or first. While many assume that Forsaken was nothing more than a very talented player, it will be after flying to a $100,000 prized professional tournament in Shanghai, China, that Optic Forsaken was exposed brutally. The tournament began with Forsaken taking
Nice.
large breaks in the warm-up rounds, as if he was trying to set something up on his computer in the background, yet it would only be after the main matches began that Forsaken's plays became incredibly suspicious. This first strange flick into the ground was followed by countless examples of him locking perfectly onto the enemy,
¿Perdona? O sea, ¿cómo te vas a creer que alguien, tío, que un puto ser humano va a hacer eso así, tío? En plan, es que tú mira esto, es que no puedes pensar que un puto ser humano va a hacer algo así.
The enemy.
Esto que viene ahora. Esto que viene ahora. Esto. Es que no, tío, que no. Es una barbaridad, tío. Es una barbaridad. Es que no.
And while there was a
Hostia.
chance that some of these kills could still be made by a high-level player,
No.
it will be with one final matchup that Forsaken's aimbot
O sea, no he visto mucho, no soy muy de Counter-Strike, pero creo que no es normal bloquear tanto, o sea, fijar tanto a alguien de esa forma, tan constante y tan perfecta todo el puto rato. Esto. Sin que se te vaya un mínimo, tío, el arma, aunque sea.
And while there was a chance that some of these kills could still be made by
Es
a
que,
high-level
vamos,
player, it will
no
be with
creo.
one final matchup that Forsaken's aimbot became obvious. After locking onto the enemy through a wall, event organizers called a timeout, and officials made their way over to Forsaken's computer to figure out if he was cheating. At first, Forsaken refused access to his computer, however the officials would ignore this and look anyway, during which Forsaken kept pushing them away from his computer while he tried to delete the aimbot right in front of their faces. Despite having travelled all the way from India, Forsaken and the whole Optic team were instantly disqualified from the tournament, which became even worse when Forsaken issued a public statement explaining that neither his team, manager or coach had even the faintest idea that he was hacking. The scandal eventually resulted in Optic India shutting down altogether, but Forsaken isn't the only person in this video to cheat in a professional tournament. Because during a professional Fortnite tournament with a $500,000 prize, the following scenario happened to a player by the name of Marky Locuris.
Marky Locuris. Está bugueado, ¿no? Pero esto no es un cheto como
Despite being
tal,
down
¿no?
and finished countless times by his opponent, a glitch prevented Marky from being eliminated. Whilst being revived, Marky told his teammate to keep quiet about what had happened, which was followed by the two unfairly killing the player who had downed Marky originally.
A ver, pero esto no es... O sea, a ver, sí, es un exploit y tal, no sé qué, pero ahí qué coño hace él. Le dice, no me revivas y me quedo... Pues no, tío, pues... ¿Pero qué es esto? Es un... En plan, es un evento en el cual te llevas pasta, porque si te llevas pasta, pues coño, lo puedo llegar a entender. No sé.
After continuing to play normally, Marky was approached by event organizers who asked him to leave the match, yet he'd refused, stating that what had happened was a glitch and was part of the game.
Claro, o sea, a ver, es un glitch, o sea, es que él tiene la culpa, pero no tiene la culpa, ¿no? Al final, o sea, es como que ha pasado y ha pasado, tío. No sé, no, aquí no lo veo tanto como, no sé.
While he would eventually give up and leave, this prompted discussion online about whether Marky had cheated or not. I don't think he is cheating, I think he just went with it. All these kids saying he wasn't cheating. He knew he wasn't taking damage and got revived, and continued the game even though he should have died. That's considered an exploit and is cheating. Fun fact, the first clip was actually a glitch, but he decided to abuse it. There was certainly an argument for whether or not Marky's behavior constituted cheating, however, the same couldn't be...
O sea, sí es un glitch, el cual ha utilizado, sí, ok. Es un poco trampa, pero coño. No sé. Yo ahí no sé qué habría hecho. La verdad, probablemente habría hecho lo mismo.
Accidentally showed his aimbot whilst trying to prove that he wasn't cheating. Up until this point, Captain Baldy had built up a Warzone kill death ratio.
Eso de ahí era lo que era verdad. O sea, en plan, eso es lo que estaba pasando.
Prove that he wasn't cheating. Up until this point, Captain Baldy had built up a Warzone kill death ratio of over 2, yet similar to the Apex Legends player in the beginning, Captain Baldy would be called out on Twitter after locking onto an enemy who was running behind a wall. Another clip then surfaced where Captain Baldy displayed suspiciously accurate shooting.
O sea, a ver, Call of Duty sí que he jugado un poquito más y sé que es más fácil, entre comillas, reír a alguien a balazos, en plan, como concentrarte mucho en esa persona, en plan, como tenerle el aim perfecto y targetearle perfecto. Pero esto es exagerado. Que es exagerado.
And as a result, his chat began to fill with people calling him a cheater. Determined to prove his innocence, Captain Baldy agreed to show his task manager, yet hilariously seemed to instead tap the key which brought up his cheat menu.
Task manager? Yo, they want my task manager? Hold up. Control delete. No, control delete task
Qué
manager.
barbaridad.
Oh my god.
The chat then mocked Captain
A ver. O sea, esto es lo que tiene él, ¿no? Esto es la herramienta de cheating, ¿no? Engine owning. A ver qué tiene puesto. Inbot mode on zoom, tal, smooth aim. Just no sé cuál. Aim at enemies on. Qué barbaridad, tío. Es que es una barbaridad, tío. Silent aim on... Qué barbaridad.
Oh my god.
The chat then mocked Captain Baldy relentlessly, which was followed by a live Warzone ban later in the
Normal.
stream.
Y menos mal, tío.
COD.
O sea, si utilizas chetos y hackeas, te vas a tomar por culo, tío. Lo siento mucho. Eres una mierda de persona. Te tendrían que estar baneando. Tendrías que estar baneado desde hace 5 años.
Damn.
With the Captain Baldy saga ending with the
Punto,
deletion
vaya.
of his entire Twitch channel. Getting caught while
Así de
checking
claro.
the task manager was a trend continued by Call of Duty streamer Young, although he didn't take his expose as humbly as Captain Baldy did. Young's viewers noticed that he always seemed to know where the enemy was coming from, so just like our last cheater, the audience requested that he show his task manager. Now, Young wasn't dumb enough to bring up the entire cheat menu, however, after accessing the task manager, his stream display bugged out and showed a second window where his hacks could be seen clearly.
Anda.
After being banned from Call of Duty, Young would take to his
Fíjate.
Twitter on which he'd make an idiotically arrogant tweet reading, "Got mad free press tonight, over 2k views overall. Some people even posted my gameplay online. Thanks for the shoutouts, people, really appreciate the help. Although these 2,000 views
Pues te
worth
digo.
of free press didn't contribute to the long-term growth of his
Toma
career,
por culo,
as
claro.
Young hasn't gone live on Twitch ever since.
No,
However,
claro.
Young still looks like a
Tendría que
genius
haber-
in comparison
Tendrían que haberlo baneado. No sé si está baneado o no. O simplemente fue que pues ya no hace stream. Pero el tío tendría que haber sido baneado, pero directo además.
to Twisted Bear, whose Twitch description boldly claimed that he was the top Modern Warfare player. The reason for this claim would become apparent in July of
este lo vi.
2020 when he'd go live displaying his
Este era
skills,
exagerado,
only he
tío.
completely forgot that he had his wall hacks on. The entity
Que una persona... Va a sonar muy bestia esto, ¿no? Que voy a decir. Pero una persona con esta cara, tío, es normal que se le olvide apagarse los chetos. Míralo, si es que está empanadísimo, tío. Normal que se le olvide no mostrar...
Twisted
Los
Bear's
chetos,
career
tío.
was then unbelievably quick. He was banned from Call of
Ah,
Duty,
y
then
menos mal.
Twitch, and was never heard from ever again.
toma por
But
culo.
this is what separates Twisted Bear from
Ya
the
está.
next cheater, Mr. Golds, who made a much larger spectacle over his cheating ban. Mr. Golds was a much more significant figure in the Call of Duty community, sporting a Twitch follower count of over 50,000. During a live stream to an audience of approximately 1,700 people, Mr. Golds brought up his task manager before beginning to brag about how he was so good at Call of Duty that he didn't need to cheat.
Is it the first time you see someone good at the game? Have you ever seen anyone playing like me? Like
Pero-
seriously?
Although he
Está
didn't seem to notice that
enseñando,
he'd
¿no?
also accidentally
Claro,
brought up
te-
his cheat menu, on which he had aim at enemies turned on. Despite having
Son
1,800
tontísimos.
viewers at the time, almost nobody was
Es que
talking
son
in the chat or
tontísimos,
calling him
tío.
out for it, showing that he was probably also viewbotting. However, while
Ah,
the
que
chat remained pretty
encima eso.
quiet, the incident was shared to Twitter where it received over 2,000
Encima
likes and
viewbotting.
700
Perfecto, tío.
retweets. After being temporarily banned from Call of Duty and Twitch, Mr. Golds would upload an apology video in which he'd state that he didn't mean to download the cheats.
I truly am sorry about. I didn't mean to.
What does he mean?
I didn't mean to, o sea, no quería descargar, de verdad, te prometo que no quería utilizar hacks, pero los utilicé.
I
No
didn't
sé, tío.
mean to. You don't download and use cheats without meaning to. I mean,
Claro.
come on, buddy.
Before going on to try and convince his audience that
Qué
this
barbaridad,
wasn't who
tío.
he was,
This is not who I am. This is really not who I am.
despite having cheated for months in the
Pues,
lead up to his
no sé.
expose. These days, Mr. Gold's Twitch channel is an advertisement for big cryptocurrency giveaways from Tesla, which sounds like an even bigger scam than his wall hacks. However,
Pues
a
sí.
more interesting question to ponder is what happens when a game developer gets caught cheating on his own game.
¿Cómo?
This is what happened to Ortonil, the H1Z1 technical director, who was caught using invisibility whilst live on stream.
You can't see me?
Ah, no le. O sea, hola.
Oh my god, am I hidden?
Está utilizando el.
Oh my god.
Yeah, judging from his reaction, the cheat had definitely been left on accidentally.
No, pobrecito.
God,
Nada, se nota
I'm
que.
so sorry, guys.
Se nota que fue sin querer, que no quería hacer. Aquí sí que se nota que. Aquí sí que se nota que no quería hacer trampas. Aquí sí.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Damn, I actually feel for the dev. You can tell he felt really bad.
Claro.
Poor guy, lol. However, there was absolutely no accidents coming from FaZe Jarvis.
Oh,
who was
este
given a
también.
lifetime
Bueno, este
ban
vi
on
la.
Fortnite after cheating
He escuchado la historia, no he visto como tal nada. En plan, he escuchado la historia de este tío.
publicly. On the 4th of November 2019, FaZe Jarvis would upload a video titled Fortnite Gave Me Aimbot, in which he'd explained that he was given hacks by an unknown person in random duos.
Something crazy actually happened. I got in a random duos game and he was telling me like he can get aimbot and everything.
And that he was going to test the hacks for his video.
This is what happens. Look. Aimbot, FOV, aimbot. I don't know what half this stuff means, but it's actually about to be lit. We're about to pop off.
Over the following 7 minutes, Jarvis lit up every single person in the lobby with his insane aimbot accuracy.
Oh my gosh, man. Oh, oh. I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
Whilst explaining that he was using a new account and a new computer so he wouldn't get banned.
Obviously, I don't want to have aimbot on my main account. I had to go on a new PC. Like, I don't want to get my main PC banned.
Jarvis finished the video by once again reiterating that you shouldn't hack and that his dummy account was most
O sea, el tío no quiere que le baneen. Está utilizando una cuenta y un ordenador completamente distinto al suyo. Porque no quiere que le baneen su cuenta. Pero sube un vídeo hackeando. Nene, te van a banear igual. No sé si eres consciente de ello. Estás utilizando hacks igualmente. Si saben quién eres, además, o sea, te van a buscar la otra cuenta y la van a banear. No entiendo.
certainly going to get banned.
Never use aimbot, okay? Never do it. You're gonna get banned. I'm 100% gonna get banned on this account.
Yet he probably didn't expect that Fortnite would watch his video and ban every single one of his accounts permanently. In the days that followed, Jarvis would upload a new video titled "I've been banned from Fortnite, I'm sorry," in which he'd explained that he could no longer play the game.
I've actually been permanently banned on Fortnite for life. Recently I posted some videos of me using aimbot. It didn't even cross my mind to think that I could be banned for life on Fortnite.
No se te cruza nada por la cabeza, cariño.
You know, it's obvious that I made a massive mistake. And of course, I would never think about doing anything like this again. I know now how big of a mistake this was, and like, it's just, there's nothing I can.
The video accompanied a tweet by Jarvis.
There's nothing I can.
El llanto más falso del mundo, mira esto. Si se está partiendo el culo. Si se está partiendo el culo, míralo.
There's nothing I can.
Se está riendo, tío. No me
by Jarvis reading, "I'm going to take accountability for my actions, and I understand completely why this has happened. I just wish I had known how severe the consequences were at the time, and I would have never thought about doing it. I love all of you who still support me. This is not the end." And while Jarvis did seem quite apologetic for his actions, Fortnite would make an example out of Jarvis by banning any new accounts that he tried to create. The interesting thing is, Jarvis's punishment was still less severe than Superfast Jellyfish, who might have the craziest cheating story in this
Medusa
whole
súper
video.
rápido.
Superfast Jellyfish was a Super Mario 64 speedrunner who wanted to join the exclusive 9-person list of Super Mario players who had completed the game whilst blindfolded. In the lead up
Mojopua, tú, míralo. Mojopug, perdón, Mojopua no. Mojopug y Zilkan. Los españoles ahí,
person list of Super Mario players who had completed the game whilst blindfolded. In the lead up to his blindfolded attempts, Superfast Jellyfish had been playing Super Mario 64 for 3.5 years, leading him to believe that he had enough experience to beat the game without eyesight, and apparently he was correct, as he'd successfully complete the blindfolded challenge after only 3 tries. However, his ability to complete the challenge with such ease prompted a user by the name of Charlie Brown 64 to upload a video titled Obvious Cheater Fakes Blindfolded Super Mario 64 speedrun, in which he tears Superfast Jellyfish's run to absolute shreds.
Only a true gamer such as this man would be able to somehow sidestep this Goomba, quickly make his way up the path, and then do this long jump to the next red, all completely blindfolded and with absolutely no setup necessary. Not only does he somehow know exactly where the 1-up box is, but he also knows exactly what direction the 1-up will go in once it spawns, something completely determined by RNG. Then, after chasing it on a moving platform for a completely arbitrary amount of time, he somehow knows exactly when and where to jump to the left. Watch now as he somehow knows exactly where he is on the spinning platform and knows exactly where the first pole is. Again, anyone who was actually blindfolded here would have probably just kept holding left and run off. However, this guy is able to make a completely random amount of adjustments to make it onto the pole.
19 days after Charlie Brown would upload his expose, Superfast Jellyfish uploaded a bizarre apology video in which he tried to claim that the run had been faked deliberately.
That speedrun was purposely fake. It was purposely fake.
Yet nobody seemed to buy any of.
O sea, estaba hecha intencionalmente, ¿no? Estaba hecha aposta. ¿No? Que fuera, o sea, claro, fue todo que un experimento social, ¿no?
His lies, as Superfast Jellyfish's time in the spotlight ended with a dislike ratio of over 95%.
Merecido. No, cállate. ¡Cállate! Vale. Merecidísimo, la verdad, ¿eh? Pero merecidísimo de cojones, además.